Hello, Tim, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Can. That seems quiet though. Can you talk again?
Yep. How's it now?
Better. Does it do that?
Yes.
It does?
Yeah.
Okay, for some reason, I thought it came, the volume came through there. Okay. Well, anyway, so it is 7:02 and we can call the meeting to order. Roll call and seating of alternates. Christina Davis, I'm present. Pam Summers. Here. Paul Barca,
Here.
Keith Lipker,
Here.
Judy Austin is not present. Angie DeSanto is not present. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yep. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of us with an alternate, so we have a quorum. And with the alternates, Tim, are you present?
I am present, yes.
Thank you. And Hugh McKenzie is not present and Holland Love is not present. Okay. Tim, I will seat you for Angie DeSanto.
Okay.
Okay, communications. Like I said, Catherine said she's gonna be late, so we might have to move around her update depending on when she's able. She said she was gonna join via Zoom. And we don't have any like real business. This is all updates, so hopefully we'll just go through things quickly. In terms of communications, I did have a communication with the auditing firm just to touch base. How are things going? I heard from Jason Cody, who is the point person at Hoyt Filippetti, that the only item to report so far is that we did get a response from the predecessor auditor and they provided the information we requested. So that's good. Also, I made sure that they have Bob Carroll's contact information, who's the new business manager at the school, because they have to interface. So I facilitated that so they can all talk to each other. Region 19 sent out a memo that they are about to commence negotiations with the Regional School District 19 Administrators Association for a new contract that will be effective on July 1st, 2025. So it's just a legal requirement that they have to notify us of that. Also, in case anybody noticed on their tax bill, there is language at the top that says something about the spending cap. And this says that the spending cap is, if you exceed the spending cap of 2.5%, the state can penalize you. If you remember, we had a conversation about that during the budget negotiations. So I was concerned with that because technically the spending cap is not 2.5% for this budget. It's actually 6.27 or something like that, because it is by state statute allowed to float up depending on inflation. So I reached out to Linda Gagnon, just asked like, where do we get this and why is this? Because if somebody were to come and ask the question, I wanted to have an answer. So she explained there actually are two statutes in conflict with each other. One says, yeah, not surprising. So the one that like deals specifically with tax bills says explicitly 2.5% and does not allow for any inflation nonsense. So and they use we as a town use a third-party vendor to print these things, and they kind of do it for everybody in the state, and that's why it says that. So if anybody were to ask you that, that's why it said that. Now, I also checked with Sherry Susie on, okay, so what did we come in at? Because the calculation for the spending cap takes our total expenditures and then it subtracts out debt service, special education funding, or spending, capital expenditures. So our net decrease for fiscal year 24 to fiscal year 25 was we actually went down 19%. So we were well below the cap of 6.27%. And so a big part of that is because our capital expenditures increased, basically doubled because of the work on the school roof.
Right.
So I do think we're gonna have to look at it, next budget cycle once we figure out what the capital expenditures are, because if our capital budget goes real low next year, we could potentially run into some issues, but I just think we have to
I
watch
think
it.
that, I've said it before at these meetings, that, and I think Catherine was here, when, with some of the state statutes. The legislatures and the Senate and the governor's office really need to sit down and actually do some work. Because it's not, that's not realistic anymore. You know, when they created that statute, it might have made sense. But given the current economic situation, it's just not feasible. And it's kind of funny to me that the state tells the town that they're gonna cap their budget, but the state doesn't at all.
Right. Yes, it's definitely wonky. That's for
It's
sure.
a good way to put it.
And I do have the calculation now, so we'll be able to do the math. When we do the next budget to figure out what that percentage is, because I kind of was like, I don't know, I hope it works out. Because I didn't know what the calculation is, but now I do. Okay. So that's communications. Approval of minutes. So we have the minutes from the regular meeting of June 13th, 2024. Would anybody like to make a motion to approve those minutes?
Oh,
Keith made the motion, and a second.
I'll
I'll
second.
second.
Oh, sorry, Pam beat you. Pam seconded. Any discussion, any edits? Nope, okay. All those in favor of the motion, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I will abstain, I was not present.
Okay, Paul abstained. Everybody else voted affirmatively. Okay. Next, we have public comment. Let's double check there isn't anybody hiding on Zoom. Nope. Okay, does anybody have any public comment? Okay, moving on. New business, select woman's update. Since Catherine hasn't joined yet, we'll skip over that. AHA pilot payment, this is just an update. So if you recall, it was May or June, we provided a $10,000 bridge loan to the Ashford Housing Authority to help them facilitate getting a van. That $10,000 was to be reimbursed by the state, then we would get paid back. That's all happened, so that's good to go.
Oh, great.
The farm exemptions, and Catherine may talk more specifically about this, but this, there's kind of two things going on with the farm exemptions. And Paul, you may chime in because I think you're involved in this somewhat. The Agricultural Commission of the town had come forward to the Board of Selectmen, making recommendations on providing some increased exemptions on things like farm machinery, farm buildings, etc. I guess we've always given some exemptions, but the concern was they haven't kept pace. They haven't been updated in 20 or 30 years or something like that. So the Agricultural Commission came forward with some suggestions on how to bring those up to date. And then the state surprised everybody, I guess, with putting some new limits on these exemptions that were actually exceeded what the Agricultural Commission was recommending initially. So it's a good thing, I think, from the perspective of the farm owners in town, that the state has sort of said, we can increase some of these caps on these exemptions. But it sort of, I think, threw things off a little bit in terms of what the Agricultural Commission was recommending and then what the selectmen were looking at. So we don't really have anything to do with that decision. It's the Board of Selectmen's decision, or I think it needs to go.
It would actually be an
The
ordinance.
town
It would
meeting
be a town
ordinance
meeting.
thing, yeah. So I'm just sharing this as an FYI, because it will eventually hit us in terms of budget. So what they're looking at right now in their proposal, if it's all adopted. Based on what the state, the maximum. The maximum exemptions that the state is allowing, if the town adopts that, which I don't know that it will, but this is theoretically. It would be about $35,000 less in tax revenue. Based on the calculations of the assessor. So when we get our grand list. You know, that's 35,000 less dollars coming in potentially if this were to go through. So just sharing that as an FYI. I don't know, Paul, do you know, because it was discussed at a board of selectmen meeting last week. Has it moved forward at all?
The ad commission met after the board of selectmen. I don't know what the outcome of that meeting was. I'm no longer on the ad commission. I do follow it. I just wasn't at the meeting because I was away. So, the goal was the ad commission was going to recommend following the state statute, basically revising the town ordinance to reflect the state statute. So when the state changes the statute, it automatically, we don't have to keep going back to town. That's where it was left. The board of selectmen asked the ad commission for their recommendation. I don't know, they have board of selectmen haven't had another meeting yet, so I assume that when that happens, that will be the recommendation.
Right.
I haven't talked to the ad commission chair to find out if that's how it went, but he didn't call and say it didn't, so I'm guessing.
Right. Again,
So-
Catherine may give updates on this when she joins. But yeah, just maybe we'll obviously keep tabs on it. We'll be aware if and when it goes to town meeting. And that's where people can have their say and their opinions on what they think about it. So that's again, just an FYI. Any questions on that? Okay. Update on the funding for the school roof. Just to let everybody know, so we got the approval for the bond funding for the school roof at town meeting in 2023, but we didn't actually go out and get the money. We have to go to a bank and whatever they do, I don't know, to actually bring that money in. And they actually did notes rather than a bond, and don't ask me the difference, some technical difference. But that did happen over the last couple weeks, and the money was expected to come into our accounts this week or next week. So anyway, just good to hear that the funding is actually going to be coming in. And I think the next question will be for Sherry Susie for us to understand exactly what the impact on the debt service for the town will be as a result, what kind of payments we have. So that'll probably be hitting, I would think, the fiscal year 26 budget. That sounds right. And the work is going on the school roof. If anybody's driven by there, you can see that.
Yes, it is.
So that's that. Audit update, I actually think I gave that earlier, just that they got the information they needed from King and Associates, and Bob Carroll has been introduced so they can get what they need from the school. And update on the business manager, it's Bob Carroll is his name, and he started and he's got his emails all set.
Could you give that name again, please?
Bob Carroll, it's 2 R's and 2 L's.
That's the
Wait,
business.
how do you spell his last name?
Carroll.
So it's Barrow, B-A-R-R.
No,
C is in Charlie.
right,
Carroll.
Yep.
Carroll, yeah, Bob Carroll.
So he's already started
He's
working.
already started, yeah. The item G, update on process regarding transfers from the unassigned fund balance to the capital non-recurring fund. So at the last meeting, I shared a memo of the process that I would like to see us use moving forward. Which basically in a nutshell would just be including that amount that we're recommending to transfer actually in the budget documents. We have a line item for it. and we've been including it retroactively, and I'm proposing that we do it like in a timely fashion, I guess, would be a way to put it. So the next step on that is I do need to run it by town council. And I'm waiting on Catherine, our first select woman, to connect me with who I need to speak to and make sure that I do it in an efficient manner so that we don't waste time and money by. I don't want to have like an hour-long conversation with a lawyer about it. I want to make sure that I do it so that he or she can look at it, go, yes, that makes sense, and then we move on. I know I did talk to Catherine about it, and she's has a lot on her plate, so I'm sure I'm probably gonna raise it again in the fall, so we can get that moving along before the budget season. The next item is just a report on the expenditures. This was, sorry, I'm looking. Where did it go? There it is. Let's zoom in. So this is as of June 17th, so it was about, a couple of weeks before the end of the fiscal year. Let's see, that's capital.
Where's the run date on? Oh, there it is. No,
Got it, okay, yeah, let me share this with somebody who wants to see it. So this shows, what we've spent, or what we spent through. Oh, this says to date, 6/30.
yeah, it closed,
Oh, but it printed
but it
six
printed
seventeen,
6/17,
yeah,
so it wasn't over yet. The fiscal year wasn't over yet.
right,
But it's pretty close.
yeah. So this document was included as a link, if anybody wanted to look at it. Are there any questions about this?
Oh, so many questions.
So many questions.
Not as fun.
Right. So that's that. And then the annual report. It's coming along swimmingly. Have everything except the Board of Selectmen's report and the dedication.
The what?
The dedication,
Dedication.
like who we're gonna use on the cover.
So Board of Selectmen, I know, again, Catherine has a lot on her plate, and also, she's sort of down staff because Chris Abacoff has been out. But I'm hoping to get it all sewn up by Labor Day weekend.
By what?
Labor Day weekend. Oh, and I had put a call out in the Citizen asking for nominations for who people would like to see it dedicated to. I
I saw that.
sadly did not get any.
I tried to come up with some ideas, but like the people in the past have been
I sent you a couple ideas.
obvious.
Yes, you did. You're the only one, Valerie.
I sent you an older person and a younger person.
Well, the other feedback I did get from the people in town hall was maybe don't pick a person, pick an organization, which is something that we had discussed at the last meeting as well. And that kind of makes sense to me because you do pick a person and it can become a little political. Well, why'd you pick that person and not this other person? And also, when do you pick someone? Do you pick someone like, oh, well, they're retired, or, oh, no, they're about to retire? It can get a little sticky. Whereas picking an organization, I
It
think,
can still be sticky, but.
yeah, it's just a little bit safer bet. So I think, to avoid spoiling the surprise, I will share after the meeting my thinking, and you guys can tell me whether you agree or not. But I don't want to say it in the meeting, because then everybody would know, and it should be kind of a surprise. Okay, well, we haven't heard from Catherine. Let me text her. Okay. Okay, agenda items for the next meeting, and let me look at the dates, and I think we'll only do one meeting in August,
Oh,
even
okay.
though we have two on the schedule. So. The next meeting. Is August 8th. And I am away then, so I don't see the need to have that meeting. So, think we'll probably have the meeting on August 22nd.
Sure. So we're gonna plan on canceling the 8th then,
Yes,
because I may be away too. I mean, I should, for the 8th, I should be available by Zoom, but just in case, I just won't worry about
yeah, and I'm gonna try to put out the cancellation tomorrow because last time I forgot. So.
it. I just figured if I didn't hear anything, then it was all good. I didn't have to worry about it.
Generally a good policy. So August 22nd, and then agenda items, we'll have to see where Sherry Susie is with closing the books. Because we do have to do year-end transfers. I do know she is helping out with the Brooklyn Fair. And so she's commented that like August is gonna be crazy, so we may, I'm guessing we may end up doing those year-end transfers in September rather than August, but. Who knows? The other thing that we need to take care of, I think along with the year-end transfers is closing out the projects for the capital improvement budget.
Right, maybe we still have those to clean up.
Yeah, so I'm hoping we can do both the year-end transfers and that at the same meeting, whether that's in August or September. That will be determined by Sherry Susie, I think. And then. Remarks for the good of the board. I don't have much. Other than, I hope everybody's having a nice summer. And. I don't know. Catherine hasn't gotten back to me.
Just forget it, so.
I think we'll just say, okay. Send an email with an update if she wants, and I'll forward it to the members.
She always puts them in the Ashford Citizen.
Right. There you go.
Whole thing.
Whole list.
Yeah.
Okay, so unless anybody has anything else you want to mention or remind anybody about, no, okay. So with that, would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And I'll
Paul,
second.
Pam, second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.